So let's go back to the beginning when everything was created. And we see that the earth was formless and void, and that darkness was covering the face of the deep. So when the light of Christ came, it began reordering all things. The first thing he did was to separate light from darkness. And let's turn to 2 Samuel 22:29. It says, "For you are my lamp, O Lord. My God enlightens my darkness." And here it is very interesting that it says that God enlightens my darkness. So what exactly happened at the beginning? Let's see this. When God brought his light and he separates light from darkness and he starts reordering all things, it is the light of the first day, which is Christ, that enveloped and embraced that empty and dark earth. And having enveloped everything, he creates a being in the image and the likeness of God. In other words, the light came to undo that void that was all darkness. Then, when man falls into sin, the void is once again formed. And wherever there is void, we're going to find darkness covering it. So it is that void where the Prince of Darkness will exercise his rulership and dominion from the beginning. And that void also includes the fear of death. And man begins to enter into a state of absolute rejection. And the first thing that the fallen soul of man absorbs is the rejection of God. And that identity as a son that he originally had, being one with the Father in the beginning, suddenly it separates and he starts to try to find his identity in any other thing to make up for the loss of the Father. Now, fear of death had entered into his heart, and also the primary rejection. Now he has to find a way to try to be like God, because that is the lie that he believed. For you shall be as God when you eat from the fruit. Now, God had made him already in his own image. Why did he ever needed to try to be like God when he was already like God? But now, from this deception that he swallowed fully, that he could be like a God, is what is going to be his life led by. And he starts to form an identity according to this deceptive void. And it is deceptive in nature. Why? Because it came in through deception. And everything that operates within that realm of this void is deception as well. So darkness tries to convince us that indeed it is a reality. And it starts to form my identity based on falsehood. I start basing my identity on what people think of me. And people's opinion, it's going to become very important to me. And a great majority of people actually lead their lives based on this. And this is a foundation of darkness, because our identity needs to be based on our Heavenly Father. It is the Father in heaven who gives us identity. But wherever I start forming my identity based on what other people say that I am worth or I am not worth, and because of this, how many times even the gospel is compromised because of the fear of rejection, even by apostles, by pastors, or by people of God. We start forming our identity by an entire system that was corrupted. And all those principles of darkness are going to completely oppose the kingdom of light. So in this darkness, I'm going to seek not to be rejected, and I am going to try to survive all the time within this system because I am afraid of death, because I am afraid that I might lose something. And this is the way millions of people are taught today. You need to have the success of this life. Otherwise, your value is zero. You need to be above and not below, because otherwise you're nothing. And in the entire Western society, the search for money and success is very important, because much of that identity formed by darkness consists in how much I have, on how do I dress. So we start forming our identity according to perceptions that have no substance. And the more we embrace that perception of darkness, the more stressful our lives will become. That fear of rejection becomes one of the greatest weapons of control employed by the enemy to control our souls. And this is where we enter into a great downfall concerning the knowledge of God and the true gospel. So, in the moment of the fall, where that void, that deception first set in, together with that separation, we have the forgetfulness of who we originally are. I want you to understand that in that darkness there is a light, and that takes the form of darkness. And that light that takes the form of darkness is a false perception of success. Someone that is admired and not rejected. Oh, how I seek to be admired by others. Notice that there is a huge difference between being and seeking after that which is off. I can truly be the light and truly be a servant of God without having to seek after admiration. So then darkness actually provides a false identity. And as long as I continue to focus on nurturing that false identity, I am going to forget who I truly am. Emerson has been speaking about remembering our future, remembering who we truly are. But I am either going to choose to nurture one personality or I am going to nurture the other. So then, everything that separates us from the Father, which is that negative personality, is going to produce a void in our inner being. And this void in our inner being is filled with darkness. So then, separation, that means voids and gaps. And these voids are going to have in them an energy produced by darkness. You remember that we read, lest the light that is in you becomes darkness? And I am going to change the word light to the word energy for a better understanding. Lest it be that the energy that dwells in you be energy that is gloomy, and that energy that is in you, that dark energy, is latent, it's alive, it beats within you. And that's not even the darkness that simply means absence of light, but it is a darkness that holds a substance, and that is energized. So if my perception is from this world and is based on this person, on this personality of this world, then I am going to be filled with voids that are full of negative energy. And this negative energy is a propeller and a driving force for actions and decisions. Then we're going to embrace rejection. And we're going to see this void that is the product of rejection. Whenever I feel rejected, is because I am seeking other people's approval. And if I need another person's approval, is because I have taken my sight off heaven. Because the truth is that we have been accepted in the beloved, and we have been made the sons and the daughters of God. So if I am afraid of walking in the truth because I'm going to be rejected and I have to endure all this rejection because of truth, instead of projecting myself towards the true being and personality which is in heaven, filled with light and filled with truth, I will be nurturing this other personality, which is a direct product of the void and deception. When Jesus came to the earth to specifically destroy that void and that deception, and he will teach us how to be that light. He will change our perception and our manner of seeing things, so that we no longer see things according to the principles and the perception of deceitfulness and the void, but we could see things according to the heavenly perception. It says in Matthew 5:39, But I tell you, do not resist the evil person, but whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other cheek to him also. Now, we clearly see here a complete different type of perception when someone slaps us. And obviously, this while being righteous. But if someone slaps me because they despise my righteousness or simply because they are a wicked person, then I can either choose to feel rejected and hit that person back, or I can connect myself with the Father and turn the other cheek. And this will change my perception. So it says, do not resist an evil person. So when I'm facing this evil person, instead of thinking, oh, what an injustice, oh, I feel like a victim, I try to find a way to share my light with that person. So Jesus comes and shows us the way on how to conquer that wickedness. He says, instead of resisting that evil person, just put the other cheek. And if anyone wants to sue you and take away your tunic, let him have your cloak also. And whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go 2 miles. Do you see how Jesus operates in the opposite spirit? The light means operating in an opposite spirit than darkness. Instead of trying to find my own justice, I see how I can take revenge, to see how can I sue that person, to see how can I protect what is mine. No. I don't own anything. Everything that is mine belongs to God. So I don't have to protect it. It is His. Do you want to take it away? Fine. God will return it to me 100-fold. So I am not subject to darkness, but I am subject to the principles of light.